I think part of the appeal of Richie Rich is wish fulfillment. And I guess they decided to take that literally. He makes a wish that he was never born.
My wish came true. I'd never been born.
It's cheap.
It's cheap. It's super cheap. We don't have enough money to make a full prop, but we can take a washing machine and pretend like, you know, wishing, washing.
Really, Saban?
Marry Saban, Miss Phelan.
Oh no, I thought we got out of Saban.
It was Sabanoween, and now it's Sabanoween. Unfortunately, Saban Miss is upon us.
This one's easier to watch than Addams Family Mistake.
I will say this was a far superior movie.
It's easier to watch in the sense of, you know, surviving the experience, and also it's easier to find.
That's very true. This one got the releases, and then Addams Family Mistake, they're like, it was a mistake.
Get that out of here.
We are talking about Richie Rich's Christmas wish.
Woo! He makes no worthwhile wish.
I wish for a big pie!
And we're standing in a pigsty.
Phelan, do you have any special connection to Richie Rich?
I remember watching the Macaulay Culkin one, and the McDonald's in his house.
Yeah.
The scene stood out to me. I think it did for a lot of people.
I mean, Richie Rich, like, I don't have a connection to it outside of seeing the Macaulay Culkin movie, but it's not anything I hold sacred. I think part of the appeal of Richie Rich to people who like it is wish fulfillment. And I guess they decided to take that literally for this movie.
You remember when Richie
a
Rich replaced Bert on The Simpsons?
What?
That sure was a joke that happened.
Oh, alright.
That was in Behind the Laughter.
Matt will know what you're talking about.
The part of Bart Simpson was played by his good friend, Richie Rich.
Don't have a cow, Mother.
Wow, great Simpsons joke, Phelan. Well, I mean, Richie Rich, I mean, it's about a stupid rich kid, right? Like,
Yeah.
The whole point is he's the richest kid in the world. But he
Yeah.
does a lot of charitable things. They're nice rich people, him and his family.
He charitably gives his friends the Happy Meals doubles he gets from his own personal McDonald's.
You know what's so sad is because Saban did the same thing with this as they did with Addams Family Mistake. They knew that they had the home video rights to certain properties, so they got Richie
Yeah,
Rich.
could get that cheap. Despite it being about rich people, it's cheap.
It's cheap. It's super cheap. So they're trying to imitate things from the Macaulay Culkin movie, but do it on a very cheap budget. So they can't afford having a McDonald's sponsorship, which is pretty sad. But you do see burgers in this, at least, like cafeteria burgers.
You see burgers.
You see burgers. It evokes Richie Rich, right?
He's got an Arby's in his house in this one. We can't afford McDonald's anymore, Richie, but
Arby's,
here you go. Here's our Arby's.
Arby's, I feel, is too expensive. It maybe
It's
be
too
a Del
expensive.
Taco.
A Del Taco.
Be what they can afford.
Not thinking Arby's.
I'm sorry. Hungry, Professor?
You're despicable.
Enjoy.
They did try to get back most of the cast, or a lot of the cast from the Richie
Yo,
Rich Macaulay
much like
Culkin one.
Addams Family Mistake. Right?
Yeah, they had high ambitions, but they all refused for one reason or another, so they ended up replacing everyone. I think they always planned to replace Macaulay Culkin, because A, he was a superstar, but B, he probably had aged out by that point. This was like 4 years after that movie was out.
I think I'm getting a zit. What do you think?
Congratulations on the zit, sir.
They did add the robot to it, which I think was part of the cartoons, but not the Macaulay Culkin one.
I think that's right. I don't know. There is a robot in the Jetsons. I know there's a robot in that.
I think it's meant to be one of Keene Bean's inventions, this robot.
Dinglehopper.
Dinglehopper.
Stupid Professor Dinglehopper.
So the plot of Richie Rich's Christmas Wish is that Dinglehopper is
Eugene Levy.
the personal scientist of the Riches, has created a wish machine, and after a hilarious mishap involving a sleigh and Richie's evil cousin Reggie, he makes a wish that he was never born, and Reggie has taken over the town. It's all for the worse, and he's gotta return things back to normal before the end of Christmas Eve, because it's a Christmas movie.
Yeah. He doesn't get an angel showing him how his life would be without him living it. He could have had Casper cameo for that. I mean, Saban had the home video rights to Casper at that point. Casper showing him, here's what your life would have been like if you never lived, Richie Rich.
Yeah, they did have a Christmas movie with Casper, which...
He crossed over with Wendy, not Richie Rich.
But the Christmas one was like all CGI. It was worse than Casper Meets Wendy. I like Casper Meets Wendy. I love the theory that Richie Rich, he dies and becomes Casper, because they had the same like model.
Right.
Casper? I'm Richie.
Macaulay Culkin's been replaced by the kid from Seventh Heaven. In the midst of Seventh Heaven, too. Seventh Heaven ended like 11 years after this or something. Some ridiculous... It was 2007.
It's important to mention.
Or 9 years. It's important. If you forget, people
that
will
dog
tell
that
you.
gets them to sniff the beat.
Probably around the time that kid did that Conan Remote bit where he did Teen Beat magazine.
Oh,
he was
right.
there to do his Teen Beats segment. That kid seemed cool as fuck. Like, he's like, yeah, I heard about these old people things, yeah.
Did you ever watch Charles in Charge when you were growing up?
Was he Charles? Charles in charge
Of our days and our nights. That's crazy that I know that, right?
Yeah, it actually is.
I don't think he was a bad replacement. I don't think this was a great movie, but I don't hold the original one sacred or anything. I think this is a stupid movie.
This
but
isn't
it's a
like
funny
Addams Family to Addams Family reunion drop. It's a bit of a drop, but still, you're not like, oh man, Richie Rich was perfect, like amazing, and then this happened.
This certainly didn't have the budget, but it is pretty stupid. Both of them were pretty stupid. I don't know enough about the Richie Rich lore to know if more fantastical elements like wish machines were a regular thing. I guess if Casper was canon, anything goes, but I just kind of figured it was a bunch of rich inventions and stuff, and I guess this relates to that, but it is just magic. Like, Eugene Levy creates this wish machine using a wishbone from a dinosaur and just children's wishes on Christmas Eve and a washing machine.
The MWR only works one day out of the year, Christmas Eve. It's the only day there's enough leftover wish energy to power the machine.
Yes, sure, why not?
You know why that happened? Because they were like, we don't have enough money to make a full prop, but we can take a washing machine and pretend like, you know, wishing, washing. And then we'll just add a big bone to it, yeah.
Don't you need washing machine?
I made the prototype out of a washing machine because the coefficient of vectors happened to coincide with the rotation ratio.
Oh.
This is not our first Eugene Levy movie that we've covered. Maybe
He didn't push any babies out into the middle of the street in this one.
No, he wasn't the bad guy in this one. Although he kind of is. I mean, he makes all these shitty inventions and they all go wrong all the time. But he did miraculously create a wishing machine, so I guess we should all fear Eugene Levy. And his British accent.
Yeah, he's to be feared in this movie.
Unfortunately, there is one small catch.
All together now. That's the way. We like it.
I don't think Eugene Levy is the worst part of this, and I can't say that about most of his movies.
Wasn't the worst part of that Boogie Man movie.
Oh shit, yeah, Boogity was...
Boogity. He was the best part.
Richard Mazer was the worst part of that movie.
Boogity boo. Just kidding.
I like that the parents were a Clue reunion in this.
Yeah, the parents were actually a pretty good get. Like, they don't let them do much in this, but it's Martin Mull and Lesley Ann Warren. Pretty good parents casting.
Actually, you know, I did really dig the casting of this movie in general. It's like,
I just wish they did more. We know Martin Mull, even when he's in crappy things like the Mary-Kate and Ashley, he does the dumb Cthulhu Land shit. He's pretty hilarious in that, despite being a really dumb movie. I feel like this didn't give him a lot.
Yeah, I did really like the delivery of the lines when Richie has caused a sleigh-related accident or thought that he did, and then everyone's talking about how he ruined Christmas, and then he catches his parents on his spy camera where he constantly spies on them.
This is really horrifying implications. What if he spies on his parents and they're like in the middle of screwing?
Yeah.
He just like parent cam and he catches them in private conversations. That little dick.
I don't remember if it said Money Cam before when he had it, or if it was just Reggie's version was Money Cam.
Money cam.
But I really love the delivery of the lines from Richard Mull and Lesley Ann Warren when they're repeating what people are saying.
Martin Mull.
Martin Mull? What did I say? Richard Mull?
Combining him with Richard
R.I.P.
Riehle.
Richard Mull. I'm sorry. He just passed away.
Who?
Richard Mull.
Who's Richard Mull?
The guy from,
Oh! I thought you were just combining him with Richard
No,
Riehle.
I guess I just had Richard Mull on the brain.
Okay.
Sorry.
What do you say?
I'm sorry.
Anyway, I really like the delivery of the lines from Martin Mull and Lesley Ann Warren when they're repeating what people are saying. They say, like, Richie ruined Christmas. Oh, he's terrible.
Richie ruined Christmas.
Our son.
It's awful.
It's terrible.
It's unbelievable. How can people say that about Richie?
I like the Colonel Mustard, Miss Scarlet reunion. It's also funny that Martin Mull and Lesley Ann Warren played Britta's parents on Community as well. They're always the parents of someone together.
Yeah. It's kind of like how the Lion King reunited Coming to America.
Right?
King and Queen.
Don't make me haul you into court again.
The main antagonist of this movie is Richie's evil cousin Reggie, who stole the remote to this sleigh, and that's how he ends up taking control of it, and they're like taking some presents to orphans or something. Like there's some charitable thing they're doing,
Right.
and then he ends up crashing it around town.
They're so charitable. They're giving away like 0.0001% of their money.
Yeah.
You little trash.
This is the biggest fantasy of this, is that they're nice rich people. They're the richest people in the universe, and they're not the scum of the earth.
Still, they can't afford realistic fake snow.
Yeah. Clearly they've gotten like some sort of machine to make some snow for some close-ups, but they have some like faraway shots where they've pasted in some snow.
It's super
It's really
gross
bad.
crap, and there's a bunch of fake snow falling constantly.
Yeah.
There's one part where they're driving by on the road, and a fake splash of snow comes at the camera. Really, Saban?
It's really terrible. So after this accident, Richie hears everyone saying that he ruined Christmas, so he makes a wish that he was never born, and then he ends up in a universe where Reggie has taken his place through convoluted circumstances.
I want parents like that.
We're very rich, son.
Not rich enough. I want to be their son.
So
we
his
missed an
cousin...
important plot point, though.
What?
Cadbury talks about being in a band.
Oh yeah, his butler Cadbury says he was in a band, and that's why he has a tattoo that he's embarrassed of, and this is plot important later.
Sounds stupid, doesn't it?
Yeah. The reason why Reggie has taken his place is very confusing. So, he apparently sued his parents for neglect and ended up with his godparents, which are Richie's parents, who didn't have him in this universe. And then he sued them, and he gained control of all of their assets, and in turn gained control of everything in town and kind of runs it like a dictator.
He
without
runs it like
Richie.
a pure...
Yeah, he did. He's got evil smokestacks, he's got Nazis working for him. He's the most evil little boy in the world. Richard Riehle, the head Nazi.
Yeah, Richard Riehl's like a cop in the normal universe, and then he turns into the leader of the goofy Gestapo.
How did Richie Not Existing lead to Reggie doing this? It seems like he would do that regardless, and then he would have ended up in their family and done the same thing.
There's honestly a lot of things that don't add up with Richie Rich just not having been born, and then there's things that happen pre his birth that are changed in this universe.
Yeah, like he finds his butler with the band as their roadie, which doesn't really seem like being part of the band, and then he helps them inspire their hit song Cadbury told him about. Surely they did that song before he met Richie, because he was in the band before he became a butler and did all this other stuff.
He's still shy about his tattoo in the alternate universe. When he's still in the rock and roll scene, like, it kind of makes sense where he's in the snooty butler profession where he's like, oh, I don't want to admit I have a tattoo, but in rock and roll, oh no, I have a tattoo, how embarrassing.
I don't want them to know about it.
Gotta admit, your story sounds like a pile of rubbish.
And he tells them about this song, and within a day, day, they write the song, perform it, record it, and sign up with a record company, and then they bail them out of jail later with a ridiculous amount of money, because apparently Reggie set the bail. Although I don't know, if he controls everything, including the police, why didn't he just have no bail?
Yeah, stupid Reggie.
Reggie's an idiot.
Made bail? Nobody in this town has that much money. I made sure of it before I said bail.
Little downfall, and then he died in his bunker like a little wiener.
We don't know what happened to him at the end.
Shot himself.
You go to your room, Reggie.
They totally kill his ass, though, when they, like, knock him into the wall and down the stairs. Like,
yeah, he broke his neck, he died.
Fatality.
He wishes that he can fly. He flies like someone who's on a harness he can't quite control. He turns into Puma Man. He flies like a moron.
Puma Man, he flies like a moron.
Then they have a battle with him flying against Saban, shooting a little past their means, I think. Reggie's so dumb too. He finds out there's a wish machine and then he takes it and he jails everyone. The first thing he does is he wishes he can fly, and then he flies around and leaves that machine around anyone who could just blurt out a wish, like, I wish Reggie was fucking dead.
I think it doesn't work the second time he tries for something, which is like, good.
Well, yeah, but he does that before it doesn't work the second time. He's just flying around. Anyone could just blurt out a wish. There's no special technique to it. You just say your wish in front of it. But the dog, Dollar, who has been with Richie throughout this, and he's nicer to him.
Has
He ends
little
up
dollar signs painted on the dog.
Yeah, I think that was in the other movie too. It's stupid.
Yeah.
He ends up taking the wishbone. No one notices this. So immediately Reggie's like, it doesn't work. Just, I guess it was one wish and that's it. I'm gonna toss it into the scrap heap now.
Dinglehopper, you're to be executed.
Yeah, the dog takes the bone to the jail. They get bail posted by the band, and then they go to make the wish and save the day, along with Richie's friends, with Michelle Trachtenberg.
Yeah. You don't get a lot of time with Richie's friends in the normal universe before he wishes himself to be undone. It's really not done well. You don't know who these people really are until you see them in the alternate universe.
Yeah, you just get one scene with them sledding, and they're having a good time with some bad effects. And then he gets called in for, like, tea time or something, and apparently this is like, oh, I have too many responsibilities as a rich kid. I have too many things going on, and that's what contributes to him wishing that he didn't exist.
Is that Richie's sled? Oh, get out of the way!
Realistically, if someone made that kind of wish, they just wouldn't exist in this world. Because I think It's a Wonderful Life, he was still around because the angel was teaching him a lesson. But what's the reason Richie's still here?
There's no reason.
Why did the washing machine keep him around?
My wish came true. I'd never been born.
I like in the bad universe, there's smokestacks everywhere, including on the Rich's house.
Apparently he makes his
shittily
money polluting.
superimposed smokestacks everywhere.
I love Evil Reggie. He's sitting around in his velour tracksuit with his little dollar sign necklace, and he's making all of these like demands to people with his Nazis that he's ordering around. And these guys, they do things that people wouldn't normally do just to set up bits. Like Richard Riehle is like on guard, standing with his legs super far apart because they got to do a bit where the dog goes out the dog door, but they have to have the largest doggy door in existence because apparently Richie's plan to get out involves getting into a cart. He pushes it forward. It expects Richard Riehle to not do anything about this magically moving cart, even though he knows that Richie's in the house somewhere. Somehow this is enough force to propel him forward and then launches through his legs through this door? Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, Schittler really dropped the ball on that.
And then he tries to fit through the door. Richard Riehle clearly could fit through this door normally.
It's a giant square.
Yeah.
It breaks, and it's like part of where the door was that you see the little break lines in later. So it's like, well, he fit clearly. You had to break it inside where the door originally was.
If your doggy door is big enough to fit Richard Riehle, it's too big. You don't need it that big.
They sneak through the same hole to Home Invasion Reggie later.
Yeah, they don't fix it. Those guys got a record contract faster than that door
Reggie's
got anything
put up
covering
wanted posters of Richie Rich all across town. He's done all that, and he hasn't even like put a tarp across the hole in his house.
No, that's cold. It's snowy. It's gonna get snow in the house. Stupid Reggie.
He seemed to be a very nice boy.
You call breaking and entering nice?
I like when they do the chase to the bank. They do a bunch of slapstick stuff, and for some reason, well, only reason it's there is for them to fall into it, is a big cart with sacks of money in it, as if that's how, like, banks store their money.
Where's the money? In banks.
Where else?
Reggie's budget's also showing when they do the fight near the end, and he goes through a painting, and then it's just hollow behind the wall. Is that a load-bearing painting there? Why is it hollow back there?
I do love that they beat the crap out of this child, though, in the finale. It's pretty good.
This could never happen again, Reggie.
Never. It feels like his friends were minimally needed in this.
Yeah, they don't do a lot.
It feels like most of this could be accomplished without them.
Richie has like some crisis at one point about his friends only liking him for his money. Yeah. Even though it's like, you're a weirdo who's never existed in this world. There's a bit more going on.
You made a wish and whatever.
Yeah, like you're a crackpot in their eyes. Maybe that's why they don't like you. Maybe it's not that you don't have money.
I don't think so. I think it's because they're shallow and they hate me.
Guys only like me because I was rich.
And that's like very quickly undone. And he says, oh, I think they only like me for my money. And then they burst in like, oh, is that what you think? Because we're siding with you, weirdo.
Oh, yeah. Because Reggie threatens to cancel Christmas if they don't catch him and get his dog back. And everyone's like, you've gone too far. You can be a dictator with your Nazis and your pollution.
With your
and
throwing orphans in the furnace.
If we don't find this kid tonight, there won't even be a Christmas.
I don't understand.
All cancel.
And call off Christmas.
It's not just that he's like a snooty jerk. Everyone's starving and looking for food, and they're living in rundown houses, and there's cars just broken down in the street. It's a nightmare. All because of Reggie.
It's Christmas Eve, and there's poor kids out there begging for food.
Well, what you gonna do? That kid has a lot of money.
Yeah, that kid's so powerful. He eats Hostess cupcakes and gumballs. They just had to wait a few years and he'd die of diabetes.
I need butterscotch. Then I want a hot fudge sundae. I need taffy.
It's such a stupid, fancy dessert meal, like gumballs and some cupcakes.
Who's eating that many gumballs at one time? Gumballs are made for chewing and lasting a while.
Mm-hmm.
You're not gonna eat all those gumballs.
And he's like, flavor done.
Yeah, I guess. And he's just spitting them into his godparents' hairs.
Candy.
In your mouth, sir.
His biological parents, they're working at the museum where they have to steal this wishbone to get this machine working again.
The lowest of the low.
Yeah, they're like, this is the only place they could get work.
This museum, though, is stacked with their security. They, like, have all these lasers and alarm-tripping devices, but then they just hire that stupid kid's parents, because that's all they could get.
This is too much security for this level of museum, and I feel like most museums, it would surprise you how low the security is. Like, it's actually fairly lax in the security department in a lot of museums.
Kind of stupid, too, because they point out, like, there's an alarm tripping thing right by the dinosaur bones they're trying to get. So Richie pulls out one of Dinglehopper's stupid devices with this fishing reel. They get the bone, but then the rest of the skeleton falls over and doesn't trip the alarm.
No, inconsistent.
Reggie's ruined everything. Didn't have enough smoke coming out of the museum to make the alarm go off.
His evil smokestacks, they never explain that. Like,
what's he doing?
He has to be a polluter. That's it. He makes his money polluting. He's a Captain Planet villain.
We only see one orphan in the orphanage that doesn't exist anymore, so he's definitely burning orphans, right?
Yeah, he's draining them of blood and taking baths to keep his youth.
We didn't know this was actually many Christmases in the future.
Yeah.
He's kept his youth.
He's actually 35 years old. He's gonna live forever.
We have to get rid of that stupid charity. All those sick people depress me.
Richie's wish to get back is really poorly worded.
Oh yeah, he words it as if, like, it's only Christmas where he'll exist.
I wish I'll be Richie Rich again. For this Christmas, and for every Christmas for the rest of my life!
And if this was like a monkey's paw situation, that's what had happened. But I guess this is a fairly good wishing machine, and that it seems to understand your intent.
Yeah. I don't want any zombie turkey. I don't want to turn into a turkey myself.
Turkey's a little dry. Turkey's a little dry! No!
Speaking of Simpsons references, when Richie gets back, I wanted Eugene Levy to come in like, I'll teach you to mess with my machine! I'll chop you good!
I'm gonna chop you good! That cost me 35 cents!
Wow, great Simpsons joke, Phelan. Then they sing Christmas carols and they throw them on top of Reggie's corpse and everyone's happy.
I would have really liked to, though, had Richie gone to sleep after Christmas, like, everything worked out. Then the next day, like, who are you? Get out of here, you trespasser.
Why, after he made the wish, did he end up in his bed in his pajamas, even though he didn't live there anymore?
Yeah, that didn't make any sense. Dinglehopper's machine is stupid.
What happened?
It's the car, right? Chicks love the car.
Do you have anything else you want to note about this movie?
I hate Dinglehopper.
Richie Rich's Christmas Wish is a dumb
Mistake.
movie. Oh yeah, I didn't want to
It's a
say that
mistake.
the robot was evil in this timeline also.
Because there's
They
a
had the
switch.
evil switch.
Like, Simpsons reference. Oh, you idiots, you had it switched to evil.
Yeah.
You want me to fix that valve for you?
You're the only one that has the touch.
Here's your problem. Someone set this thing to evil.
Why was the robot around if they didn't employ the inventor? Because they employ an inventor. A personal inventor. I don't know. Didn't make sense.
You understand the time-space continuum? Don't push it.
This movie is not very good, but it's a funny movie. I enjoyed myself watching it. Kind of brings me back to those days of watching stupid Fox Family, ABC Family movies from Saban.
Crappy direct-to-video sequels.
Yeah. It's on Disney Plus. If you want to check it out, I recommend it.
Unlike Mistake, it is not there.
Wiped from existence.
It erased.
You should watch it or we're going to be in a real bad mood.
I feel myself falling into a really bad mood.
I forgot to take my medication in the morning, and I'm in a real bad mood.
This is the end of the video?
Yeah.
Merry Christmas!
Now that's the Christmas spirit.
Maybe this is a bad time to mention this, but my license is expired.
Oh! Good. Perfect.
All right, then.